Let's go. Here we are live, making the pre-go live banter about blue skies and Mr. Blue Sky and all this stuff. So welcome everybody. Here we are to just hang out and say whatever. I thought we could talk a little Toy Store nostalgia, a little Toy Store current business. Welcome everybody. Junkyard. I feel like it's a bit of a Brady Bunch thing. How you doing over there, Junkyard?
Pretty good. And hey, happy 2-year anniversary of the Mr. C show.
Oh, we got that too. We'll give a little recognition. I've been kicking around a little. Of course, we wouldn't be here without all the contributions of all the individuals on the screens. Most noteworthy of all of our partners, Fanboy G. Welcome.
What's
welcome
up?
Around. our hardest working man on the road. He took himself out of the Chi-Star area, but put himself back in the Chi-Star area, the traveling man. Chi-Star, you got your headset on. Good to see you, my friend.
That's right. Good to be here.
Man, you saw some stuff.
I see a lot of stuff.
Well, that was, a little bit partial inspiration, at least, because you were out there on the road seeing cool stuff, putting it in the group text. And I'm like, well, I've been seeing some cool stuff too. So let's come together and talk about our cool stuff. So, all right, here we go. Back in the day, we all had Toys R Us. We went around. So let's start with when classic Toys R Us, before they all started to close. I guess let me come back to Chi-Star first and work around the boxes. Chi-Star, what was your last trip, if you can recall, to a Toys R Us from the prime Toys R Us era before they announced the whole company closing, shutting down? Gee, when's the last time you were at a Toys R Us before they closed?
This
Fanboy
one?
G.
That
Yes.
one. Oh, this one. This one. I got
He said
confused.
he's gonna circle
I
back
don't
to
know,
me.
man. I didn't come to rehearsal. What? Oh, so the last time I was at the Toys R Us was actually out here before it closed. There was one left, and it was like a fire sale. I think it was like 70% off, and still it felt overpriced for what was left. I was there at the bitter end. Yeah.
Junkyard, I come to you with the same question, sir. What's your last time you can remember walking in the doorways of a Toys R Us?
It would be the same as Fanboy G, but let me change it a bit. Let me flip it. So one of my first dates with my current wife was to a Toys R Us store. And I thought that would be a fun date. We'd go and play with the toys that they had out. That was the nice thing about Toys R Us, is they would have these displays that are kind of neat, and you can press buttons and you can watch the action figures interact. The Lego sets that they had were unique. So that's my memory of Toys R Us. And then, of course, as we had kids, you'd go there with them to just play with the stuff and then get ideas of what to get them for their birthdays.
I remember that story, man, and it's that story is now, as we age, that story has some years to it. So good to hear that story when it was a fresh new story, like 48 hours after, and now many sets of 48 hours later. All right, now my man on mute. I see you got the mic muted. When's the last time you walked in the doorway of a Toys R Us?
Wow. Well, the closest one is like in the burbs up in, it used to be in Highland Park area. So it had that suburban, like, no one's here vibe. So this was like even when they weren't even closing. But I would just go there just to look around and just sort of like, just see what's out there. And I would always go to the G.I. Joe Transformers aisle and just see what's happening. And I was always hoping, because I was never like up on the up on like what was going on. So I was always hoping that they would like have like reissue kind of like toys from like Transformers especially, but they never did. And then they closed. I'm like, oh well, I'll just go back crying by myself in the corner somewhere. So yeah.
Crying in the corner. There was, might have been some of that. Now I remember for me, it was probably, I should have, flagged it better, but it was eat right. I'm normally not going to the toy store on Easter. We're having a family eating around a little bit, but then because it was soon to go, so whichever year it was, so we it was the one over by close to Lane Tech High School, the former Gordon Tech, now DePaul High School, right over there on Addison. And so that was, I still have pictures of that one left around. But at the time, it's like, what are we going to do now? I mean, Target still has toys. Five Below started to come around, and that was definitely helpful to mitigate the loss of Toys R Us. There came a time when, and I'm going to say it this way on purpose, Marshall Fields, really Macy's, but Marshall Fields started to have a Toys R Us section, and that was beneficial. But now to current, and we can jump in and fill in blanks and those things. But let's come to current. So come to Harlem Irving Park, the Hip Mall, quite a distance from the Lane Tech area. There is an actual full size, not just companion piece boutique Toys R Us store again. I understand it was a line around, a long line to get in from the first day that it reopened. So I'm saying this is a beautiful thing for the younger generation. It's a beautiful thing for all ages to be able to hang out. I guess we'll go around the same circle. Mr. Fanboy Cantina, the next time you come around this way, do you think you would step into this Funko simulated Jeffrey box photo booth opportunity, or would you wave off on that?
I think it looks fun. It looks fun. It looks fun. I would like to see it in person. I think it would be cool to see. Yeah, to hit the nostalgia. It's nice that they have something to draw you in other than, it's got toys. Yeah. I'd go.
Junkyard, say pass or step in. Which way would you go on this booth?
Definitely a pass, but I have to say we recently had a mini Comic-Con at our library, and Mattel had a very similar setup. That was the Barbie doll box. So you could go in and be the Barbie doll. So it seems to be a thing now. And this is the second one that I've seen. So I'll just call it a thing. If I see two, it's a thing.
Most definitely a thing. All right, let's where I'm misplaced there. Here we are. Sometimes we go two, sometimes we go three. Kind of rare to go.
It's the Phantom Zone.
Oh, no, it's the bad guys from Superman.
Mercy me. All right, I mean, you would be the physically closest Chai-Star to this actual physical shop in the mall. Would you jump in the photo booth box? Would you go the way of Junkyard and be like, that's not for me?
Okay, so is it sort of like a Spirit Halloween vibe where it's like they just occupy and it's just like whatever, or is it like a true like Toys R Us store where it's like shelving and legit kind of thing?
Is there a sign? Is there a real sign outside that lights up in the multicolors of Toys R Us?
Oh, now if I could jump to page, but so yes, I was trying to think of a snappy way of phrasing like, oh, you did show up to the pregame, because it's the perfect leading question. So yeah, here is a full-on actual toy store, and so just short months before this, there was an independent toy store, and just a mini recap on the Harlem Irving Plaza Mall. And so there was a tiny independent toy store like across the way. Then that came and went, and then there was this in the same space where Toys R Us is now. There was another independent spot, and then you see the paper go up over the windows and what's going on. It's not. Then you see coming soon Toys R Us. So they are back, and as a certain one of us, well, we're all GI Joe people here, but there's a certain one of us who's maybe the top GI Joe. So let's take a look at it. So there's this Cobra Commander helmet. It looked pretty high end. You can see the reflection of me taking a picture in the silver mask. Is it so? Maybe that'll be a future review material on a Fanboy Cantina. It's a Cobra Commander helmet. But let's see what other loot do they have right there. So there you go. Nice big windows. I don't want to grow up. You got the stars. You got opportunities to see the current stylings of your Jeffrey Giraffe. What else we got? So here you go. Here's some toys in the toy shop. You got a variety of stuff. You got, of course, there's Funkos. So there's some giant size stuff. There's some, good amount of horror stuff. You got your X-Men and Avengers kind of a action figure action going on. You got, I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Magic the Gathering stuff. I'm just showing it's a variety of stuff. Now you got games. You got your Twisters. You get, what are you jumping around for? You got your card games. I like the paint. I like the color coding. I like the layout of the place. Now, is this as big as the kind of Toys R Us as we were used to coming up? No, it's not giant, but as far as it does not at all have a Spirit Halloween vibe. It has a we're here to stay kind of a vibe. I didn't know there were so many variations on Operation. It's a beautiful thing. That's not some tape up, peel on. It's not painter's tape up there on this stuff. It looks like they're sticking around to stay. So I look forward to the time that all four of us, any configuration of us, can be in a Toys R Us again.
KB Toys, go.
KB Toys, let's roll it. KB's been closed for a long minute now. That for all of us, I would say our unified, our common denominator, KB Toys, was up at the Lincolnwood Town Center Mall. Fanboy G, memories of KB. What were some of the eras that you were hitting KB, or positive reflections on KB Toys?
I mean, that's probably more like what this installation is, right? It's the mall store. It's going to be smaller. I think it's really, really tough to envision a world where Toys R Us comes back, or what, Child World, right? That was another brand out here. Dispensa's Kitty Kingdom out in the suburbs. I don't think those kind of really large physical stores are coming back, based on what you hear about kids playing with toys anymore. The demand is, I think the world has changed, perhaps regrettably the world has changed. So I've got more memories, or I've probably purchased lifetime wise more stuff from the KB, just because, in the 80s or 90s or afterwards, the KB Toys was more ubiquitous than the Toys R Us. And you also got the good sales.
I'm kind of surprised and not surprised, just because I associate you with Toys R Us, but I also, in my mind, associate you with being a big KB person of the era. Before I pitch, same question in Junkyard. Michaela has joined us. Michaela, it's especially when we're not doing Svengoolie specific content, good to have Michaela around. And I'm glad that Michaela is younger than us, but she was able to make it back when she was a kid, but it is closed. Michaela, here's hoping that a Toys R Us would open somewhere around you again. Junkyard, your thoughts on KB from back in the 80s and 90s?
Yeah. Pretty much when you showed us the pictures of the Toys R Us, I agree with Fanboy G. It gave me that's why I said it. It just totally gave me the vibes of KB Toys. And I agree again. They were just more ubiquitous. They were in practically every mall. I do know that some of my relatives would go there to buy toys in bulk. So they would sell toys in bulk, which was interesting, for their practices. So they had pediatric practices, and so they would buy toys in bulk to put out in the waiting room.
Most excellent. Chai Star, you and
same thing. Same thing. I got that like KB Toys vibe from the installation that Toys R Us is doing. As Fanboy G has said, it's sort of like it's almost like a lost art of selling toys now, that kids really aren't into that. Now it's all about electronics and downloads and things that are portable that you could take up and bring with you. And also that whole, I think, COVID thing, how kids would interact with each other online. That's also, I think, a big thing than just having a plastic thing and using your imagination in front of you. So it is nostalgic to see, but it's also kind of almost like, in a way, a social experiment to see how is this going to work out? You know?
Man, you're just hitting some legit sociological, professional journal, noteworthy commerce observations out of the park. Well stated, sir. All right, Michaela.
I just flew back from a work trip, so I'm a little excited.
Let me come back at you. You put some pictures of the shop you passed by in the work trip. I'm going to come to you next again on that, but let's get Michaela in the conversation. Some of the toys were an old video game for the Wii video game console and a talking doll from a classic cartoon. Michaela, if you want to tell us which talking doll from which classic cartoon, that's cool. Michaela has one more comment for all. Now, young Michaela is explaining to the people. I love it. Right in the 2000s, every Wii has the Wii Sports game. Michaela, glad that you were able to be a part of that from your relatively younger years. So, gee, we of course we're good for proper toy shops. We're good for having cool spots of all kinds. So, gee, you were out and about on work travel, and you put us in a group text. It was Elliot's Rock and Roll. Allen's. What's the name of the? Who's the number? Let's call the number. What's the name of the place? What the place?
Captain Lou.
I'm doing a little Captain Lou Albano reference in there. What was the name of the shop that you passed by that you put the photos? Somebody's rock and roll spot, right?
Was that the horror one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was what was I doing? I think I was just loitering around the town of Austin, Texas, because I know I got lost or something. No, I got a smoothie and I was walking back to the convention center, and lo and behold, I saw this window of horror. I'm like, hey, this is like Chris's jam. But I was kind of in a hurry, so I just like took a picture of the outside and just a close up on the inside. But it was like true. Like whatever you talk about on your live stream or whatever you show, it was like
there in the windows.
It was talking to you. It's like, come, Chris, come, Mr. C, come to Austin, Texas. So
right, and so then I read up on the place, and it's got a little bit of like the alley store here around the Chicago way. So it had this nice blend of some punk-ish, rock-ish stuff of not just t-shirts, but like the work shirts and all that stuff with the bands on them and all kind of stuff, and a lot of figures and memorabilia and collectibles for that. So that's kind of nice that you were able to pass by that spot. So that was your most recent business, Junkyard, as you already alluded to. You were at a certain event. Do you care to comment on what your attire was at that event, or that's not for public consumption?
No, that's fine. So I was Pikachu. And I've been Pikachu now. This is my third time being Pikachu. And the best part about it is the interaction with the kids. But I definitely had a weird experience that I didn't have before. And that is, there would be some kids that would come up and play patty cakes with me or, interact for an extended amount of time. And then when I was done and took the costume off and I started to walk around the convention center, I would see these same kids and I would think, hey, I know you, but you don't, because you're not in that costume anymore and you're a creepy old guy. So you don't say anything. But it was just this weird disconnect of, hey, we interacted for a while.
Now,
Not really that.
Did you practice a Pikachu voice? Did you try to affect some vocalizations?
Yeah, I got the Pika. Yeah, I'm pretty good. Yeah. Any other things you want to embarrass me with? I
said we could pass on the subject.
No.
Sir. I said
It's fine.
rewind. I was hoping for this. Mandarin. We're talking Toys R Us. Did you have a Toys R Us by you in your youth, Mandarin? And Mandarin, I came prepared. Now, I understand Mandarin can remain a man of mystery, and we will continue to work with that. But I said, just in case Mandarin wants to finally join us, Mandarin, right here,
Oh, my
baby.
goodness.
Wow.
Mandy, get the click in if you want. You can have the camera off. You can do whatever you want to do, but this is your open invite to jump on this screen with us right here tonight, Mandarin. Let me come back to comments. Let me leave that. Well, let me leave that in the screen for a minute and not put comments right now. That's Mandarin's open invite, camera on, camera off. Anyway, Mandarin wants to go. I was hoping we might pull the Mandarin into the conversation, but now let me cycle up. Gee, Mr. Fanboy, you have a whole, I don't know, is it a playlist or a subgenre, but within the Fanboy Cantina channel, and if somehow somebody is here and they're not aware of Fanboy Cantina channel, you do a virtual field trip.
Mhm.
You've covered many a store and many a genre in there. Roughly, not down to the science, but like how many spots would you say you've been able to feature? And then what's the overall experience of hunting for those spots and then landing into those spots?
Yeah, there's not much rocket science. It'll be if I happen to be in a particular area, then I try to check it out, try to figure out how to get over to that place. There's a few places in the nearby vicinity that I might go to, a couple of times a year, maybe once or twice a year. And yeah, it's fun to check out. I don't do, so on the Fanboy Cantina channel, we don't do, here's the toy hunt over at the local Target or something like that. There's nothing wrong with those channels. The reason why I don't do it is just because usually I don't find anything. I have a crappy Target that doesn't have anything new, so it's kind of pointless. I was like, oh, look at this disappointing experience. Yeah, so I don't do it. But with the other stuff, with the vintage toys, those are fun. Those are fun to do. Yeah, I like that.
All right, let's get some update from Mandarin coming around. Mandarin's the whole family, and Mandarin, you are absolutely part of the extended family around. And this is the most Brady Brunch format we've ever hit. And another one, what's up to all? Oh, you're doing the look around. Yeah, I'll do the look around too, but then I can't see to navigate. Mandarin forever influencing the content in the best of ways. All right, what's up, homeboys? Mandarin is out at a tea at the Drake. So for people that don't know the Drake is one of the classic downtown hotels. So Mandarin's rolling big tonight in the Drake. Mandarin, we're sure you're looking fly. Also, it is so cool to have the Mandarin around. Let me come take this off of the. That's in comments. Okay, let me go back. Comments. Pull. No, that's in the banner. Let me get the banner out of the way. Zippity doo dah.
I tell you, with that popular song, I can't associate the Drake with the hotel anymore. I just associate it with that
guy
striking
from
a chord,
Toronto?
but it's probably a minor. Yeah, I can't. My Drake association has perhaps regrettably changed. Yep.
Sure. Let me both laugh at that and then try to generate another question at the same time. That's all right. Independent toy shops. Here's another. Again, a thing that we four have in common that has to go way back now. That a spot that had two different locations, both on the same street, but a good number of miles apart. Now I'm talking about the classic scare the kids at the you're saying it. The classic cut rate toys. Let's go back up to Fanboy. Gee, your earliest memories of cut rate are like roughly how old were you when you started to traverse the hallways, the aisleways of cut rate toys, and again the closing and reopening experience?
Oh yeah, it was among the first things that I saw in moving to the West Rogers Park neighborhood on the north side of Chicago. Yeah, so that was an experience, right? And back in the 70s for sure, and into the 80s, it was a major destination. You would wait for the Thursday newspaper. People still bought newspapers, right? And you'd wait for the coupon to come out, and you'd bring that sheet of paper, that sheet of the newspaper over with you to the cut rate. Oftentimes the line would be around the block to get in, especially as you got closer to the Christmas holidays. And yes, I think if we were to revisit that place, there's got to be some place with footage of the interior of that place. It was outright chaos, right? It was like chaos, just disorganized chaos.
Which would explain the tone and the frequency going over the in-house MC microphone speaker system. And gee, what was the classic line that was to respond? Maybe to respond to the chaos. Maybe it was there before they go.
Get your children's hands off all the toys, or get them out of the store right now.
It's a toy store. Where they did not want the kids to touch the toys, yet at the same time there was all the chaos there. So I mean, who knows? Maybe if we were in that position, we would have been the same way on the mic on the in-house speakers.
If you remember, they had like an alcove of the 3 for $1 toys. I would hide in there and spend because my parents would never take me there. I would go by myself, and I would try to sneak in and then go directly to that alcove and just spend, I don't know, maybe an hour in there. Just yeah. And I remember those announcements and hoping they don't catch me. But yeah.
It's traumatizing. Honestly, a traumatizing story.
But I have to say, I was pretty poor growing up, and there was nothing better than the 3 for $1 toy. I mean, you could actually get a decent toy. At one point, I think after Star Wars was starting to kind of fade out, I know it's blasphemy to say, but it was, they had action figures. They had open, I mean, they were not in the box, but they had Star Wars action figures, and I got a few of them still that I got 3 for $1.
And if you kept those in the box on the card way back when, that would be $300 a pop probably today.
Yes. Yeah, but they weren't in the box, right? I mean, that's why they were 33 cents or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah.
All right, Shy Star, my man, you also came in and out of Cut Rate Toys at its original location. I don't have the address in my head, but right near the corner of Devon and Western. What were your thoughts of the OG location of Cut Rate Toys?
I remember looking at the newspaper ad and just saying, "Oh, like what they got going on." So it was in between. So I would always think that Toys R Us was like the Louis Vuitton of like stores for toys, just as far as pricing, right, and selection. And then it's sort of like was Zayre, and then or Venture, and then you had Cut Rate, or hence the name Cut Rate. So I just remember, like, if I had some money, I would go to Cut Rate because I knew I could get something, especially the bundle sales or whatever. I just remember going there, and there's like, you're like rummaging through stuff. It's sort of like, I don't know, dumpster diving for like toys kind of vibe. But yeah, Cut Rate. But that's the thing, it's the experience. You never experienced something like that, especially as a kid. Like, you're not cognizant of the environment, of like how like Cut Rate it really was. So I mean, just the name itself, whoever came up with that name, what you name it? Fun in boxes, but no, we're Cut Rate Toys, let's go. So I'm sure that's what they're like, drinking and stuff. What should we call the place? Cut Rate Toys, let's go. Yeah, I do some goofy ass accent now. See, I'm still kind of like wired from my trip, but yeah, it was definitely the experience, the environment, and even almost the excitement for the hunt to go there. Sure. And find toys that you're like, oh my gosh, I saw this like Adventure or at Toys R Us, and it was like a lot more money, and now I could afford something. So it was a great childhood memory.
I remember. Go. I remember one year there was a big controversy. They had the Atari system, the Atari 2600, in those paper ads, as Fanboy G said, for like, I can't remember, it was like $70, $69.99, which was a great price at the time when it came out. And they only had 3 cents. and, and it was a big controversy. I mean, people lined up to get it, and then it turned out they only had like 3 of them.
Mm.
Fist fights breaking out in the aisles. No, it's mine. Get your hands off of my stuff.
But you, Mr. C, and I spent some time in Zare, if you remember, down the street.
Oh yeah, and let me say this is expensive, right? I put Toys R Us in the headline, but this is all old days, nowadays, days in between. We can talk Toys R Us, we can talk Carré, we can talk Zare. We would definitely, and then I remember when, again, the loss of the physical brick and mortar, right? Before the internet came, when the loss of the brick and mortar thing came around, you felt it, because then where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? So yeah, when Zare got torn down, I was like, no. But we clocked a lot of time in Zare, and I'm glad you just name pulled Venture, because then we also had clocked some time into Venture. I mean, these were the spots where we came up in our formative years, so it's some sentimental value for these places. I mean, whether you bought a toy or not, it was your spot. I'm going to pull a dad reference here. I remember right around this time, being 3rd grade, 4th grade, the Rosen's Corner drugstore. So in the time, the drugstores would have your 45 records and your comic books and your magazines and all. And I remember my dad saying, okay, well, this is your first hangout. You're going there with your friends. This is one of your first hangouts. And as you age, your hangout spots are going to change their and be in. I didn't know he meant because some of them are going to close over time, but it's totally relevant. Where was your spot? Where did you feel good about hanging out? That's the whole thing of it. So we had, despite certain tone coming over the speaker system that was a little bit scary, we had it pretty good. It was pretty cool. I see I got some comments coming, but I don't know. Well, here, let's look at the comments. And I would say somebody ramble while I pull a comment, but okay. See, but this is what it's all about. So now we're in the current era, and now we're able to, and again, this is cool that Fanboy Cantina channel comes around. Maybe, are we on 6 years now, G?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, something like that. And then here we come over here 2 years. So I wanted to, this is kind of fun. This is cool to pick up a Mandarin in this current format of the world. And he's saying thumbs up for this live stream. He just happened to see, you'll definitely rewatch. See, we got a Mandarin now, and we got a Jim Campbell to come in on the screen sometimes and a comment sometimes. And you got a Blue Sasquatch here, and just all the people we've picked up through doing this. So it's just kind of cool. And it's cool that we had some cool stuff in our youth. It's cool to have some cool stuff now.
It's just like what we've said with everybody that we've met with, at least you and I together, in that I always give the context. This stuff that we do on YouTube is essentially we're the same people, the same conversations that we would have on the playground or at the bar. It just happens to be in YouTube now instead, and it's a nice thing. It's that's what makes it fun. If it turns into something else, then it won't be as much fun. But as with that heritage, with that tone, with the vibe, it's the same stuff that we would do back in the day on the playground, talking about movies or whatever it is, or some toy. It's the same stuff. It's just maybe a lot older now, and through YouTube.
And then right as we start, just chronologically, it started out in we won't have to do the whole 1st grade kindergarten thing, but let's say it was still early to mid 70s where Fanboy G and me started, and then in the 80s it picked up with Junkyard, and then the 2 Gs picked up toward the late 80s in the high school end of things, and then we put the whole band together here. We assembled all the squad here. So right, be it the grade school playground, the high school McDonald's, the concerts, just all. So now here we are, at our current age, and this is a beautiful thing to be able to hang out in this format. So a contribution that has come through all this. I'm going to come around the share screen, but there's a more recent design, and I don't know if Mandarin's still checking in or checking out, but one of the major contributions our man Shy Star has been making is the recurrent question, and we're not ready to pull the plug right here. We're ready. When's the next live stream? And whether he's in the live stream as he is right now, or whether he's out, the question is always coming. When's the next live stream? So let me see if I can successfully navigate here. Let me come share screen. Let me get Amazon up here because our man Junkyard has been plugging away at some t-shirts. So the sus t-shirt is definitely some Junkyard business here. Oh boy.
Boy,
Womp womp.
yeah, you're gonna go a long way.
All right. Well, hey, let's go a long way then. I'm trying to find the new release. So you're saying if I keep scrolling, I should get there?
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually. Man, look at all this t-shirt. Man, people go to your Amazon. Prime Day
Sprinkling in ads for other random stuff.
That's right. Yeah, I was just
Like-
noticing that.
A lot.
That's okay. I think you're gonna have to go a long way to get to the.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to maybe come back for it then. But let me come out of stop sharing. And this is my failure to do my homework right. But the new t-shirt is when is the next live stream? And it's a beautiful t-shirt. And how awesome that we're not showing the actual t-shirt or we're in a hurry. We can scroll around for it. But anyway.
No, it's in your email if you want just the image without the t-shirt.
Yeah, because that's gonna be
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But I have to tell you mentioned Rosen's, right? So
yeah, go.
I ended up working there as a teenager as a delivery boy. But prior to that, when we would go to Rosen's, I did end up buying my very first 45 there.
Ah.
Do you remember what it was?
Absolutely.
And let me say alongside Chai-Star, as Junkyard is answering the question,
Yeah.
we have Snoopy is joining the live stream again. Snoopy's making his second appearance as the fifth Beatle as the co-host. All right, go. You Snoopy can bark, man. If you don't want Snoopy to bark, that's cool. If you want to have Snoopy barking, there it is.
It was Men at Work Down Under, the 45.
Ah.
With the, you need the adapter still. It was with the larger holes and
The adapter being the plastic circle
correct.
to go around the centerpiece of
Yeah.
the turntable.
Yeah. Remember they had these special bins and all it was 45s. They didn't have an LP or anything else.
Right. I remember seeing all kinds of stuff in there, and I don't know if I still have any of those, but I remember seeing just like Billy Joel stuff in there, just all of it. Right. The drugstore wasn't a 7-Eleven, but it was some overlap or some Venn diagram commonality. Oh, yeah. Mandy just took a screenshot. Use that screenshot responsibly or irresponsibly, Mandy, but we appreciate your contribution, of course. Rosen's was a good spot. You'd get your candy, you'd get your drink, you'd check out the comics. It'd be, again, trying to touch the toys in the toy store, trying to read the comic a little bit, get a preview before going to plunk down your 50 cent. You'd plunk your $1 on the counter and you'd get your candy bar and your comic. Man, good stuff.
There, if you remember, you had to be very careful about which toys you bought because all the pieces may not be there. If you remember, it was just a mess. Kids would just be in there opening all the toy boxes. If you got a G.I. Joe, it might be missing a knife or a gun or whatever other accessory that it's supposed to come with. But if you're not buying the toy, what a great playground.
Yeah. Again, a larger scale, a bigger piece of real estate with probably a proportionate greater amount of chaos around there. But like good memories. Let me say this for specific to Cut Rate. My most clear memory of Cut Rate is definitely Star Wars figures and G.I. Joe figures. But again, the Larry Hama written character profiles on their dossier or their I don't know if there's a better name for it, but their little individual character card. Yeah, the file card. So that was like that was a magical moment of that era. At the same time, Junkyard's hiding around the corner in the shop. I'm trying to read the stuff in there on the G.I. Joe characters. It was all really good. So we got your Sayers Adventures. Let's also, Junkyard, tell me if I got false memory. It was at Zaire, I think, where you landed the Gamorrean Guard T-shirt right before Jedi Return of Jedi came out.
You are absolutely right. No idea how Zaire ended up with those. It was a full rack of them. I had no idea what I was getting. I just knew it was Star Wars. That's it. Yeah.
Getting the character before the character's on the screen, ahead of the curve, a trendsetter.
That was kind of a fun aspect, going back to cut rate, where yeah, it was a time before social media, and there just wasn't as much community. It was hard to know what was new and coming out. I remember, I think it was like I was watching the news or something. Toy Fair had just happened, and so like for maybe 3 seconds, there was an image of what would be the G.I. Joe Tomahawk and the Night Raven, the Blackbird ship or jet. And that was spectacular. So at cut rate, I remember, I think this is right. Maybe I'm messing it up, but I'm pretty sure the Empire Strikes Back figures came out before the movie came out. I think that happened. And so I remember seeing the very first Empire figure that I have is Han Solo in his Hoth outfit. Like, oh, what is this? Oh, maybe they're in Alaska or something. They've come to Earth, right? I don't know what's going on. Those early kind of moments of seeing stuff were thrilling. That was really great.
Man, good times.
Good times.
All right, I want to come back to Junkyard mention, because I just another random thought about the new Toys R Us popped in. So as Junkyard was recently portraying the Pikachu character, they do have on Saturdays and Sundays at the currently open Toys R Us in the Harlem Irving Plaza Mall. Somebody, but probably not Junkyard, is dressing up in the Jeffrey the Giraffe suit and coming around for a half hour at a time to do meet and greets with the kids. I do have a picture of that, but it didn't load in. Anyway, so that's, for people who want to recreate that kind of a experience for whatever age you are. I can remember being at the being at the Hello Kitty shop downtown with the wife and taking pictures with Hello Kitty. But that's again a lot of years ago now. You just did a Max Headroom. I don't know if you meant to or not, but you just kind of jumped over. Maybe you were froze for a second or not. All right. Any other shops that we didn't hit on the toy nostalgia? Any other specific memories of toys or toy lines or things that we didn't get cover, or are we?
Ooh, Mr. Carter.
Ooh. As we're talking about the nostalgia of the environment of like cut rate toys, I just realized that two of the places that I used to go to regularly, which was Larry's Comics and Cut Rate Toys, that I realized they really don't like kids. That it's more or less like they're out there for the money. and I feel, okay, so those of you out there, I'm just giving you like a note version of Larry's Comics. Dude named Larry, you guys probably know more information than I do, Mr. C and Fanboy G and even Junkyard. It's a very small comic book shop. Everything was in like backing boards and stuff like that. It wasn't like a library. So he would actually like yell at you if you're just like there, like looking around, or he would flat out ask you, are you going to buy anything? So I feel like that mentality, for me at least, kind of gave me a little bit of a callus mentally to go into the environment of cut rate toys, of not really have any good expectations as far as just looking at the toys themselves. So that was just an epiphany that the two places that I regularly go to, they didn't like kids or messing with their stuff. They just want you to buy their stuff and then go. So yeah, just saying. Okay, carry on.
Chuck, go.
I saw that reference to Larry's mustache, Mr. C. I appreciate that.
The mustache in the 70s, length hair.
Oh
and all of
yeah,
it.
it was classic. If you remember, there was Everybody's comic book store down the street, and so when we would go to Larry's, we'd get whatever we would get, and then head to Everybody's on our way home. And when we'd walk into Everybody's, he'd want to have us check in the bags of the comics that we would get from Larry's, and he would look through your bags, and he would look at it. And sometimes he wouldn't even comment. He would say, "Well, why do you get that there? You know, you could get that here. I could set it up for you here."
And
It's a really bizarre thing for a kid to experience. Somebody going through their stuff.
we were young. We're talking the 6th grade era, 7th grade era, around this time. And there was that was our bus ride. Maybe it's Friday afternoon sometimes, maybe it's Saturday afternoon. Take the Devon bus going east, get over there. We'd hit Larry's, we'd do the stuff. And I want to add in, just for documentation of our lives purposes, there was a cat in the comic shop. So they'd have, again, this is the era, there'd be a tiny black and white TV with the Cubs game on, or whatever else might have been.
Always, yes.
And I think the warmth of the TV sitting on top of the long box of the comics. And then I think the cat maybe wanted to, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to stay warm if it's Cub season, because it's anyway. So the cat would be like walking across the long boxes are all this way. The cat is walking over the top, shedding, and so it was just, it was magical, magnificent youth and being a kid. So now come to what Junk is saying about everybody. We thought, okay, cool, we're doing 2 shops. It's like, and now as grown people, we've hit 2 different facilities. We went to Bric-a-Brac and we went to Horror House in the same day. So we're okay, and we go in everybody. Okay, that makes sense. Check your bag at the counter. But we looked over, and let me add, this guy has an occult book section, right? His comics are up in the front of his shop, and then he's got tall stacks. And I don't mean all the stacks were open, but he has an occult book section, and we're grade school age, and now he's taking up the brown paper bag to see what did we buy. And I can hear his voice. I can hear his voice. I'll give you a deal if you come over here. You buy 5 comics from here, then you get the 6th one at 10% off or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm glad you guys landed. That was not in the original show notes, but I'm so glad that got covered, because it was absolutely part of our days and our ways growing up.
Everybody's was a good shop, even though it was not the same. It was a small place. The comics were better organized, I think, than Larry's, for sure. Less selection, so less chaos, but it was nice. The dude was fine, for the most part, and kind of kept to himself. He had a lot of other stuff going on in that place. I think used magazines, let's say, and other things. I think he had posters too. Movie posters.
I remember a lot of books though. That was
a lot of books for sure.
A lot of books, a lot of used books too, which was interesting. And as Mr. C said, the occult section scared the bejeebers out of it. It was bizarre stuff. There were some like goat heads and stuff. It was just.
I don't remember that. Maybe block that out.
Maybe you stayed near the front wisely.
Yeah, I did.
So, Gene, let me give you a specific question. Had you ever done that? Did you ever walk into Everybody's with a comic that you just got? See, okay, so you were spared the inquisition, the inquiry of it all.
No, I would take the 49 bus back up to Devon, and then rather go one direction towards my house. I go the other direction at Everybody's, and then I go, it would be after school. I didn't have the energy to use another transfer to get all the way to what is it, Sheridan or wherever the heck it is? Yeah, no.
Yep.
Broadway, close to
Broadway,
Sheridan,
too far.
Yeah. But when Mr. C and I first started to do it, you could use the same transfer. That was the beauty of it, as long as you did it within a certain amount of time. So we would watch the clock
on the little paper transfer. It had a little clock on it.
Yeah.
Well, let me come around again, all the random thoughts passing through. Then when Cut Rate reopened, it was again, all as we're talking about Devon and as far east as you can go in the city. Then Cut Rate came around and reopened near Devon and Central and had a good number, maybe as many years there as it had in its original spot. And in that time, I remember seeing more. There was, and this is when I've moved over close by the area now. They definitely had wrapping paper and they had Playmobil stuff, and it just seemed to skew for a younger toy collecting crowd or more family friendly. And I'm pretty sure they didn't have the megaphone system in place over there. Maybe again, it reflects the neighborhood slightly different a few miles down the road. But again, when Cut Rate in its second location had closed, that was again a bit of a bummer because now where are we going to go for toys? So again, it's been cool to have Target and other shops in the current era, but it's coming full circle. It's good to have a physical, not Spirit Halloween style, a full on long-standing Toys R Us open again. Any closing comments?
If there's a hesitation that I have about the Toys R Us standalone here in San Francisco, I don't know if it's still there, but there was at the Macy's a carve out that was called Toys R Us. It was the specific a storefront for Toys R Us. But the selection was not that great, and the prices were, you weren't going to get a deal. You were not going to get a deal at that particular store. But I went there because I was killing time. But then if there was a standout, it's in those instances where they may have something that you just can't find anywhere else. So my distinct memory for going there, I think this was last year or the year before, it was last year. McFarlane had come out with the Batmobile vehicle, the Batmobile from the Flash and movie. And that thing was amazing. That thing is amazing. Present tense. It's just a wonderfully put together toy at a relatively affordable price point. So unless there's something like different about the store. So what I liked about the pictures that you had, Mr. C, of the magic kits, right? The magician kind of thing. Those are that's cool, right? You don't see that very often anymore. So I'll be curious if what their strategy is product line wise. Are they going to have new and different things? In my kind of Star Warsy world, like the most recent standalone action figure that I picked up was oh man, what's it? Kellig Stelgen. No, I don't know. It's a particular Jedi figure from their Battle of Geonosis set that you could only get at Toys R Us. They had their own limited line. So a lot of the more obscure action figures that have ever been produced as part of Star Wars, a lot of them came from the Toys R Us exclusivity. So, if they do the strategy right, if they're able to get the exclusives, if they're able to draw people in and the price point is right, maybe it's got a shot at coming back.
A shot, and then we can debate who shot first within that shot.
It is Han Solo. There's not even a question about it.
Well, let me say, we can have again on-air conversation. I didn't mean to say that actual other interpretation was valid. I see. Yes. There we go. All right. Fanboy, my man, any immediate content coming up on the PAL channel of this channel, on the Fanboy Cantina channel?
Well, two things, I think. One will be, I saw Gladiator 2 this morning, so I did a out of the theater reaction thing on my phone, so I'll edit that down a little bit and post that up. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's not Gladiator 1, but it's a good movie. It's a good movie. So there's that. I also did get from Super 7 the Martians. From Sesame Street. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah. So I did an unboxing of that I've got to edit down and post on there. And then Some things coming up include, I just got to get rolling on it. You know, the Ghostbusters HasLab only has, I think, 10 days left, maybe not even that. So I want to talk about that along with, Columbia has its annual Star Wars line, and the pictures just came out the other day. So talk about that. Yep. That's what we got going on.
Awesome. Jystar, any upcoming projects or things you're looking forward to that you care to dish out right now, or is it that's all behind the veil for this current conversation?
Yeah, everything that I do is not related to any conversation or topics, even related to your channel or to Fanboy G's channel. So my project currently is doing laundry and surviving the people that live under this roof. So I'm just saying. I'm comic relief. But crying on the inside.
Full Pagliacci story right there. All right, my man Junkyard. You just put the new shirt together and we'll have to come back. This was all just a teaser. Come back next time and see the actual when's the next. You have to come to the next live stream and see the new when is the next live stream shirt. What's on your horizon, sir? What's cooking in your kitchen?
Yeah. So I try to do at least 2 designs a day. So the latest ones have been giant fingerprints. So a shirt that has a giant fingerprint. One is got a green hue, one has a blue hue. I still look through old comic books, and ones that are in public domain. So I truly don't do anything that's licensed. And if anybody wants a design done, I'll do them for free. I'll just punch them up on Amazon and you could buy or not buy. You could just enjoy the design. But if they really want to send me a request for a design, wistfulr@yahoo.com.
wistfulr@yahoo.com. Also, the comment section right here is a way that we'll pass the word if people are,
Absolutely.
by any means necessary, we'll get around to it. Hey, I just want to say this: it's cool to be kicking around in these airwaves and these screen boxes for a couple years now. A special recognition to Jim Campbell, who broke the channel open with me with the Mego review when the 50-year anniversary Mego superheroes were coming up, which ties back to my earliest set of toys and all that. But I could not have a better crew of collaborators, co-hosts, on-screen pals, real-life pals to be doing business with here. I'm going to be looking forward to, again, let the good times roll. Tonight, Svengoolie's got your Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. That's a whole other thing to comment on the great horror comedies of all time. But that one, Ghostbusters, those things are up there. I'm going to hit the end live stream, but just whoever is watching know that even after we're off, we're going to continue, the 4 of us clowning around, sometimes on the screen, sometimes off it. Much appreciation. A lot of good memory lane here. A lot of current good times going on here. All right, we are out. Thanks, everybody. See you. When's the next live stream? We'll let you know soon. See you soon.